This is Yorkville, a section of Toronto known for its exclusive shops, fine dining, and fancy cars. It's a pretty quiet place these days, but when I first started hanging out here in the 60s, it was a whole other scene. Back then, Yorkville was the Haight-Ashbury of the North, where musicians like me flocked to play at the scores of coffee houses that lined the streets. Little did I know then that the group I joined in 1964 would be part of a generation of Toronto bands that would help to make music history. My name is Luke Gibson. I was born in Toronto, 1946. Grew up in the North End, up in Willowdale. Went to high school briefly and got into music and quit school. Mike McKenna had a band called Mike's Trio. They were playing in Yorkville Village at a little club called the El Patio.
Luke had that charisma that Mick Jagger had, and people saw it. And he had a great voice, still does. And it just worked. Luke was exactly what we needed for our little trio.
They were, at the time, making $15 a night for the band, so they'd each get $5. And the club owner was upset that I had joined the band because he didn't want to pay any more money. He says, "You're not getting another $5 out of me." So the guys would each give me $1. That was the beginning of my paid career. I was making $3 a night.
Then we added Peter German, the organ player. And then, of course, we went on to form Luke and the Apostles.
We were the first electric band to play at the Purple Onion, so it changed it a bit. We ended up being there. There was a sign out the front saying Luke and the Apostles held over 68th week.
We were working hard, practicing a lot, and we ended up creating our own sound, you know. And when you play 6 nights a week, believe me, you know, by the time we hit the Purple Onion, we were smoking.
Well, we felt we had something special. We put our own sort of electric spin on it. The configuration of a lot of bands in Toronto at that time were drums, bass, singer, Hammond organ, and Fender Telecaster.
I think there was a Toronto sound. Yeah, of course there was. Guitar players. Guitar players came out of here. Freddie Keeler, Dominic Toriano. I mean, the list goes on. Bobby Starr. You know, there was guys who played really good guitar.
So the bands, they had a similar sound because of the instrumentation.
The early days of Ronnie Hawkins, Robbie Lane and the Disciples, Oh Charlena, Richie Knight and the Midnights, all those bands were the early creators of the Toronto sound. And the Telecasters and the setup in the band with the keyboards and the suits.
Nobody really called it the Toronto sound at the time. It's just that all the musicians that were getting into bands loved R&B. And it just spoke to them, and they went, well, this is what we want to play. We weren't walking up and down Yorkville going to see bands and going, well, this is the Toronto sound.
But there was a concert in Maple Leaf Gardens with the Apostles, the Ducks, the Mandela, everybody was on it. It was called the Toronto Sound. Somebody coined that phrase. If you could look at the Avenue Road Club where the Mandela played and we were down the street as the Apostles, totally different worlds, but they were both the Toronto Sound.
Well, I'd say the Toronto sound came out of Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks. all the bands would go to the Concord Tavern and watch that band because they were amazing.
Ronnie Hawkins was huge back then, and his band played everywhere.
And that's where many people learned their stuff, from the Hawks.
Listen to Robbie Robertson play on the early recordings like Bo Diddley and Who Do You Love?
All the musicians that were getting into bands loved R&B. And it just spoke to them, and they went, well, this is what we want to play.
If you listen to the early days of those albums, those roulette recordings, you hear Robbie doing the quavers and the high notes and just ramming the Telecaster like nobody, you know, and that was before the Blues Breakers and Eric Clapton. Needless to say, Bob Dylan heard these guys and went, you're going to be my backup band. I'm sure that people in the States or other places that heard the records coming out of Canada that were good and solid and really cool would have been influenced by the players, for sure.
Maybe blues is a healer, but love sure is too. You get one or the other. One is just one, and the other's with you. Well, it's 4 in the morning. I wonder how I'll get through when it's quarter to lonely. And only one touch will do. I'm taking me, babe. Sweet love to my soul. Oh, tango me, baby.
song by Mr. Lou Gibson over here. Come on, folks. That's a sweetie. It's going to be a new one. And we're keeping it.
It's hard being in North Toronto, growing up in a white family, trying to understand what blues guys are really about. This music to me was something I felt very strongly about. There was people in New York going, wait a minute, you guys are young white guys from Scarborough. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be playing Temptations music. You're not supposed to be playing Bo Diddley. I mean, you're not supposed to be doing that. But there was something about the music that just grabs you and sort of just gets a hold of you. And once it gets a hold of you, that's it. You're finished.
Gotta put your foot down, baby. You wanna hit that groove right. Yeah, put that foot down, baby. Gotta hit that groove right. Yeah, you can put it down all morning, or put it down all night. Yeah, when the train leaves the station, don't get left behind. When that train leaves the station, don't get left behind. Yeah, find yourself wide open. That mojo's down the line. Put it down, baby. Gonna hit that groove running. Want that roll to ride. Yeah, hit that groove running. You want that roll to ride. Yeah, you better jump right on it, babe. Take it to the other side. Yeah, put your foot down, baby. Take a hit to groove right. Put that foot down, baby. Gonna hit that groove right tight. Come on now, you hit it. Yeah, put it down on morning. Put it down all night. Put it down all night. Put it down all night. Put it down all night.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I think there would be a comparison, if I could compare anybody, and I'm not trying to say we were the Stones, but early Stones is exactly the way we sounded. If you listen to the early stuff with them, Route 66 and even Not Fade Away, we kind of were in that same sort of thing. We weren't that groomed. It's like there was the Disciples, you know, Robbie Lane and those bands and the Hawks were all very professional and smooth. We were kind of like just the other end of it. We were a simple rock and roll band. You have to remember, there was Jimmy Reed coming through, there was Ray Charles, there was the Colonial Tavern, Muddy Waters. They all came through this route, going to Montreal, back through Detroit, whatever. And we had years of that, you know, and I think that exposed us to great music that maybe other people weren't. And seeing all these guys playing, I mean, I followed the Yonge Street group of players that came through the Lecoq door by just looking in the window and watching them and going down every weekend and seeing who was playing. But we all had a common interest, was the blues and rock and roll, you know, and we could actually do this.
On a walk today, I saw you remind me, ain't no satisfaction in no crumbling dream. Wild music, still what it sings, graffiti eyes. Knew I would see through the light, might be eyes. Burn another hole in the night, burn another hole in the night. Into the light, into the night, into the light, into the night. You're flashing them fingers, white light speed. You can see it all across the nation. A lot of people stumbling towards a mutation. Graffiti eyes. They knew I would see through the light. My beady eyes. Burn another hole in the night. Burn another you. Martini Monday, Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When we were playing at the Purple Onion, Paul Rothchild from Elektra Records had just recorded the Butterfield Blues Band.
Was up in Toronto, and he was looking around for bands, I guess, poking around, seeing what's going on. And he
Dropped by the Onion and he saw us playing. He loved the band. And he said, okay, tomorrow we need to audition. We have to audition for Elektra.
okay, I want you guys to, we're going to talk about recording.
So we had a rehearsal. Paul Kidd was in the club. He phoned Jack Holtzman in New York and then handed me the phone and said, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, sing into the phone. So the band played a song.
Luke sang over the phone, which was, just the way it happened.
Unfortunately, before that record came out, Paul got busted for marijuana, and he went away for 6 months. So the juice went out of the project. By the time he got out of jail, the Doors were there, and he produced the Doors. All we basically got out of it was a great statement by Jack saying that Luke and the Apostles was the greatest album we never got to make.
Standing here beside you, I can really feel all the love you got inside, spinning like a wheel. As I touch your hand, look into your eyes, does not surprise me that I love you, just like I do. Make me high, baby. So when it shine on me like you do, closer to me now, I can feel it when you smile. Shine on me now, hope you stay for a while. 'Cause it seems to me very special thing to be. Is it love is someone like you, baby. So high, yeah. Pretty high, pretty high, pretty high. You could shine on it like you do. Walk down that street, sun's twinkling in the sky. I'm feeling pretty good watching people going by. And I realize the sparkling eye right inside me, babe. I can feel it. Oh, yeah. Take me high, yeah. But stand by side, la, 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 la. When I say you can always try, make me high, yeah. So high. When it shine on me. like you do. You got cruise control, power drive, pushing on my pedals and a motor come alive. Accelerator, drive me crazy, stone wild. I don't mean to be over dramatic, but you put my love on the matter. I would lose concentration, just crazy at the wheel. You're about to vanish in my automobile. Lose it on that corner, looking for a better deal. Said, don't worry, baby, don't need this kind of stuff. You put my love on all of mine. This automatic, down channel takes you alive. Automatic, if another power drive. Automatic, don't know how I'm gonna survive. Automatic, they'll let you overdrive. You put my love on all matters. Look out, it's automatic. Yeah, channel up to you alive. Automatic. That's another power dive. Automatic. Don't know how long to survive. Automatic. They'll let you over, they'll let you over, let it. Thank you.
We had experienced a lot together in in 4, maybe 5 years, playing every night together, working, hanging out together, going to school. And we worked 3 clubs in 3 years. And we experienced New York. We experienced a highs and the lows of the, oh yeah, we're going to get a record deal. Oh no, our producer got busted. Oh yeah, we're going to bring you to New York. Then you get to the airport and they won't let you cross the border. I mean, there was all kinds of ups and downs.
Pretty much at that time, we said, well, that's it, we're going to break up.
The music thing was changing. It was going from the basic rock and roll to more, for me, it was, while Cream was happening, the guitar sounds, the trio stuff. Luke was writing and doing other things, you know.
And we were young, and we'd kind of fed up and wanted to do different things, and we didn't really know what we were doing.
What can you do when mystery is fading and it seems like that music is the only thing true? Yesterday was like a page in your fable. Got the heart of the highway, it's coming to you. And yes, another wheel, oh, it's another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight. Yes, another wheel, oh, it's another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight, my soul tonight, soul tonight. Something in you got that spirit, Reno, is fading, flashing. These bright city lights play on through. Find some affection in the hearts of the flyers, the queens of the dice. Yes, another wheel, was another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight. Yeah, another wheel, was another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight, soul tonight, soul tonight. Something in you, baby, got the spirit arena. It's fading and flashing, those bright city lights play it on through. You find some affection in their hearts of the flyers and the queen of the dive. Yes, another wheel, oh, it's another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight. Yes, another wheel, oh, it's another wheel, baby. You got a piece of that soul tonight. Yes, another wheel, oh, it's another wheel, baby. Taking a piece of that soul tonight. How about this band here, guys? Let me introduce some more fine people here for us. Playing the bass is the Dave Rio. On the drums, Rob the Machine Kirkpatrick. Over here on my left, been playing with this guy since 1964. One of the founding members of Luke and the Apostles, Mr. Peter German. And who could forget Mike McKenna?
Everything I've ever wanted to do was to play and be able to transmit what I'm playing to people, to enjoy it, and for people to come to me and say, you know what, I sit down and I play that Stink album, or I heard you play this lick and I learned how to do that. It's my being. It means I can wake up in the morning and go, yes, I've got a gig tonight.
Michael and I have been playing together for almost 50 years.
Because there's a magic. I work with Luke. Luke works with me.
I'd like to thank you guys so much for coming down tonight. Just let you know this is not a one-off. We're in it to keep going. As long as we got people like you to come down and see us, then we're just going to keep playing. Thank you very much. Mr. Luke Gibson over here, folks. Come on!
It's just sort of like a real long, ongoing brotherhood kind of a thing with the music.
So, come on, Tika. Reel me out. Come on, Tika. Reel me out. You get another, you get another, you get another underneath my skin.
The magic is still there.
You get another, you get another, you get another underneath my skin.
Nothing felt as good as what I was doing when I was singing and playing.
And come on, Tika.
It's still the same thing as it was 40 years ago.
Reel me, baby, reel me out.
It's too late to stop now.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Baby, reel me, baby, reel me out. Thank you. Good night.